So the Biden administration just announced that they put through an executive order. Pretty much, if you've been convicted of a simple possession of cannabis on the federal level, you're going to get that pardon, right, for lack of a better term. There's so many things to unpack there. One, we're going into a midterm year, a midterm election year, and he's doing this a few weeks right before the midterms. This is a dangling of a carrot. This is trying to tempt people like, oh, maybe they're finally going to decriminalize cannabis. Maybe they're going to legalize cannabis. Maybe we should vote. Maybe all of that's game. First of all, the feds generally don't deal with simple possession of cannabis charges. And even in saying that, some people will get it misconstrued and say, yes, they do. So let's give the stats. Since like 1992, there's been about 6,500 convictions of simple cannabis possession on a federal level. But those 6,500 cases of those convictions aren't just the feds showing up because you had a dime bag. They roll up a bunch of charges into someone, and it could be 10 different cannabis charges. So those 6,500 in 30 years, because again, the feds don't generally focus on small things, all of those damn near are tied into other cannabis cases. Now, how is that relevant? It says it right there in the executive order. This will not pardon you of any other cannabis-related charges. So if you sold weed and you're charged with, you had that rolled up on the federal level and in conjunction with the 6,500, simple possession charges, it's not going to remove the fact that you sold weed. You're still going to have that cannabis conviction. So the Biden administration knows that. They'll say, for too long, simple cannabis possession charges have stopped average everyday Americans from getting jobs and housing and blah, blah, blah. They'll say that, but they're not getting rid of the other convictions, and the 6,500 of them are in conjunction with other cannabis charges. So if I got 4 charges, one of them is simple possession, the other 3 are cannabis, conspiracy to sell cannabis over 10 pounds, over whatever, I'm still running into being blocked from all of the things that the Biden administration says and acknowledges is a block for employment, so forth and so on, but they're just going to get rid of the simple possession charge instead of just decriminalizing it, instead of just legalizing it, okay? Kamala Harris, when she was in California, said she didn't want to let a lot of those guys go for cannabis charges in California, even when it's legal, because they needed the free slave labor from the prison industrial complex. That's the vice president now. You have to really pay attention to what's being said, because they're telling you in plain sight, along with him saying, we're going to look into what the scheduling of cannabis is. We're going to talk to the HHS and the AG about what the scheduling is. Everyone on the planet knows that it's Schedule 1. Everyone knows, it's not new knowledge. The president should know that cannabis is still federally prohibited. If I get caught with a cannabis charge, I am prohibited from purchasing firearms so-called lawfully. Everyone knows that it's classified the same as heroin, even though that's wrong. And he's also not having a conversation about fentanyl, which is Schedule 2. Think about that. So you have to really evaluate what these guys are actually saying to you. This is a carrot dangle right before the November midterm elections to convince people that this administration is actually going to do something good, like cannabis legalization, that would impact so many black and brown people in the voting bloc that he says he wants to help. That's what's happening with this move. So yeah, the feds do charge people with that, but it's rolled up into other charges. Yeah, even if you get the pardon there, you're still going to, if you got other charges, you're not going to get pardoned for selling weed. And they already know what the scheduling of these things are and how they're negatively impacting you. They're tossing you a carrot because they don't respect you. It's time to make politicians afraid again, and the best way to do that is to be informed, be locally involved, being safe, and being solutionary.